Speaker, Ms.Rejitha Rajan ma'am. Advocate Rejhita Rajan ma'am is a registered patent agent and IP attorney with extensive experience in various fields. Ma'am has completed training programs on patent filing, proceedings, patent search, specifications, claims, writing, trademark, GI, copyright, and design filing, as well as knowledge course on negotiation. She has also served as a member of District Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, a member of the National Lok Adalat for District Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, and a panel member for the Tiswadi Taluka Legal Service Committee. She has also served as a legal consultant, legal support officer, and a legal executive.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me for this particular session. And the topic that is given to me is Consumer Protection Act 2019. Now, since all of y'all are students of law, I believe that you all know Consumer Protection Act, especially when you're already in the third year. Okay. A quick thing. We celebrate 3 days related to consumer related affairs. That is, first is 15th March. That is considered as International Consumer Day. Okay. And who is the person who started the entire consumer movement? Ralph Nader. And he was from USA. And he was also a lawyer. He was an activist. He was the one who actually brought about the social movement in the society so that it could benefit the consumers in US. And then we have 24th December, which is celebrated as the National Consumers Day. That's because that was the day actually when the first Parent Act, Consumer Protection Act 1986 came into effect. And then we have 25th June, which is celebrated as the State Consumer Day, because that is the day when the rules got published in the official gazette. Okay, these are the 3 days when we actually celebrate Consumer Day. International, national and state. We all know about this two Latin term, caveat emptor, that means beware, buyer should be beware, and then in Consumer Protection Act 2019, there was a paradigm shift by which the whole shift was shifted from the buyers to the sellers. Why the buyer should always be responsible to check whether it is good or bad. The whole responsibility should not fall on the buyer, but even the seller who is actually introducing the product in the market should also be made liable for it. So he is also equally responsible. Next. The two things, when you file a consumer complaint, two things are important. Many a times the complaint gets dismissed or get rejected at the very initial stage is because either there is no territorial jurisdiction or there is no pecuniary jurisdiction. What is territorial jurisdiction? That means whether you have a right to file in that particular territory. Okay. Now, if you see, there was some changes which was made in the Act 2019 to benefit the complainant. They made it that a complainant can file a complaint. Like for example, let me give you an example. Like A and B. A is the seller, B is the buyer. Now A stays in South Goa, who is the seller. B in North Goa. Now he purchased an item from the seller who is from South Goa. Now technically, what would you think? If there is an issue with the product, where the complainant should file the complaint? South Goa or North Goa? Why South Goa? Why you are making it so easier for the seller? So the 2019 Act made it much more easier for the complainant. Let him be within his area of residence and he can file over there. He has the option of filing in South Goa, but let it be easier for the complainant to file. Otherwise, thinking of the distance, sometimes people don't even go. Okay. Place of business or residence of opposite parties, that is of the seller. Place of business or residence of complainant, or where the cause of action arose, wholly or in part. Now the action arose in South Goa, but also when he started using the product, which was in North Goa. So it can be in part. So that discretion is provided to the complainant to make it easier for him. Understood? The next is a pecuniary jurisdiction. Now if you look at the Act, it clearly mentions that District Consumer Protection Redressal Commission has a pecuniary jurisdiction up to 1 crore if you look at the Act. But subsequently they felt if it is up to 1 crore, if you look at the ground reality, most of the people buy basic things, right? It doesn't reach up to 1 crore unless it is a flat or certain things, the cost is on a higher side, right? So they said if you put the pecuniary jurisdiction up to 1 crore on the District Consumer Commission, then the entire flooding of the cases will happen at the district level. So they decided to reduce it. So subsequently they passed a particular notification whereby they said let us reduce it to 50 lakhs and above 50 lakhs to 2 crores it will before the State Commission and above 2 crores it will be before the National Commission. Now if you look at the previous Act, Consumer Act 1986, now how they decided the pecuniary jurisdiction, I'll give you an example. For example, what's your name? Your name? Sankal. Sankal purchased a flat of 49 lakhs. Okay. And there was some issue with the flat. He went to file a complaint. And he asked for a compensation of 10 lakhs. 49 plus 10, how much it is? 59. So if you go by 1986 Act, where will he file the complaint? In the State Commission. Okay. Now that's because under the Act 1986 the pecuniary jurisdiction was decided on the value of the goods or services and the compensation. That means whatever is the value of the goods plus compensation, whatever is the amount, that would decide the pecuniary jurisdiction. But under 2019 Act, it is like this. If I purchase a flat of 49 lakhs, that is the value of the product. Compensation might be X, Y, Z, whatever it is, but it is not included to decide the pecuniary jurisdiction. Clear? Yes. Pecuniary jurisdiction decided only on the value of the consideration paid of the goods or services. This is clear? Yes. Who is a consumer? We all know the definition, so I will not get into it. Not a consumer. If the good is given free, then who obtains goods for resale? I buy from someone to resell it, not for my personal use. Then the most important thing is, many a times there's a thin line. Now I purchase a vehicle to drive for my self-employment. Then I'm a consumer. But if I give it for rent or I hire a driver and I have a taxi business, then I don't come under the scope of that definition of consumer. Understood? So it's very important to understand whether you purchased it to earn your own livelihood, that is for self-employment, or you are buying it to use for a particular business that you're running. Who can make a complaint? We all know about it, so I'm not going to get into that. Next. When can a complaint be filed? Unfair trade practices by the service provider, defective goods, deficiency in services, overcharging of goods and services, and hazardous goods. Next. The rights. We have the 6 rights: right to be heard, right to choose, right to be informed, right to redress, right to consumer education, what is happening at the moment, and right to safety. Now I'll just run, because whenever we talk about rights, there's always a duty. Okay? When you say right to safety, you also have a responsibility to be aware. Now if I'm purchasing something, I should look into some basic things when I'm purchasing. I should take that responsibility. Like to be mindful of the safety and quality of the products that I'm purchasing. Okay? Right to choose. Then you have a responsibility to speak out. Sometimes you go to a shop, the shopkeeper gives you something. The best example is, you go to buy some item, 80 rupees zale, what the shopkeeper will say, round figure koreani, आणि 20 रुपयाचे किती घे. You have a right to choose whether you want it or not. Someone cannot impose, can't be coercive, either direct or indirect. Right to be informed, that is consumer education. But you also have a responsibility to think independently. When you go to a shop to buy a television, sometimes some of the customers says, "Koincho bari asa, tumhi sanga." See, you also have to do sufficient research of what you want, where you are going to put, what is the usage, and then accordingly decide. Then the right to redress. When you have a right to redress, then you also have a responsibility to complain. Right to be heard, then you have a responsibility to be ethical. Now if I bought something and I want to teach that particular person a lesson because I'm not in good terms, so you purposely create something to harass that person, then you are not ethical. You have to go with clean hands. Then right to seek compensation. Now just go through the responsibility part a little in detail. You have to access the information available on the product. You have to compare the specifications. If I'm going for a laptop or something, I have to check the specification. Now if I'm a student, or if I'm mostly working on Word and all that kind of this thing, then I should go for a simple this thing, not a high-end technology which a software engineer would be using. So you have to buy something that meets your needs. And you should know what specification you want for your work. Study various feedbacks. You have to go and check the reviews and see what is the situation of this product after being sold in the market, what people have to say about it. Then, right to consumer education or right to be heard. Now, responsibility is you don't get carried away with advertisements. Half of the times we buy certain things because we see in the advertisement that some things like, which makes you believe that you will also get it or achieve it by having it. Example was one of the misleading advertisement was Red Bull. It gives you wings. Nobody got the wings till date, right? The consumer must insist on getting complete information. If you're doubtful about something, you should ask the person and the person should give you all the information related to the product. Complete contact details of the consumer grievance redressal. See, when I buy something, I should know if it has an issue, which is a point I should rush to get some kind of a redressal. Next is the right to safety. What is the responsibility? You should look for standard quality marks. And you should not buy any spurious products. There are a lot of imitations, all those things are in the market. You have to be very careful by purchasing. Now, right to redress, the responsibility is ignoring the loss suffered on purchase of defective goods. Sometimes we say, no, 5 रुपयाचे difference ahani aika lago naani kidak vachu. Don't think like, okay, it's a small thing, I will just overlook. right? Now at the moment in on Netflix there is a movie that has come now, Hisab Barabar. Some movies come. It talks about a railway officer who's actually wanted to be a CA, but his dream could not be achieved. And then he ends up becoming a railway ticket man. But all the time he's with the numbers. He's really good at numbers. Okay? And the people normally give him the files to file their income tax because he's so good at it. Because he likes that. And then he comes to know, he was checking his bank account details. And then he comes to know there has been a deduction of so and so amount. And it was only 67 rupees 50 paisa, for which he went and complained. And the officer said, when he's filing his complaint, there is another person who's saying, sir, 50 paise ke liye kyun khade ho aap? Time waste kar rahe hain. So he says, 50 paisa doesn't matter to you. आम्ही म्हणटाली सोडून दी, सगळे सोडून दी, असू, ignore कर. And then his whole point was there, every month, if this much amount goes out, in a year so much, into so many people in that bank, imagine 2 crore customers, how much is the amount? That money is like something like black money sometimes. And if it goes abroad, it doesn't actually, that money should have been invested for our development of this country. So where we are losing. So it's just a matter of a small thing for which he goes into so much of debt and he tries to crack that. So it's just a 50 paisa, but the 50 paisa or 00 point, whatever it is, it matters. When it comes to the matter of volumes, when you're playing with volumes, it's a big amount. Okay. Consumer must file a complaint if not satisfied with the quality of product. Then they have to carefully read all the terms and conditions. How many people actually goes, when you're buying even a mobile phone, reads the terms and conditions? No. Samsung phone, have you seen when you purchase, they don't have an option of replacement. They only repair the damaged parts. And then you have to stick within that parameters because they've clearly mentioned it to you when you've purchased, agreeing to the terms and conditions. Right to be heard. The company has provided you the contact details of the consumer grievance handling system. You have to ensure that you get it. If they are not providing you that, then make sure that you also stand very strong and say, I don't want your product. Avoid purchase of products or services from a company which do not give this details. The example sir has already covered is that when you have to pay more than the MRP. There has been instances where they have actually filed and they were compensated. No authority has the power to charge above the MRP for any packaged goods because the MRP includes all the profit margin for all the people involved in the distribution system. Next. No MRP. It was also mentioned in the street play. So I'm not going to get into that. Next. Tired of the false claims made by skin and hair care products. There was this one of the beauty product of Indulekha where they said, the beauty will come in search of you when you use this. Now whenever you use any product, they don't come in search of you. Is it true? Is that tagline makes any sense to you? When you actually use any of the cosmetics, does the beauty come in search of you? Or exactly what is mentioned, does it happen to you? Yes or no? See, when you buy any of the hair care products, have you observed, it is not meant for all the skin. Each individual has a different genetic makeup. It might suit you or not. But don't give them such high hopes that you cannot even live up to it. Okay? And advertisements are made to sell the product, so exaggeration of results is too common. Like that tablet which was used to slim. And they say within so many days. It might not work in all the cases. And there's one more thing which I said, no? When you go to a shop and you buy some products and you say like, the shopkeeper normally says, 85 रुपीज झाले 15 रुपयाचे आणि कितें घे 100 रुपया काबार and especially they do it when small children go आणि काय कितें घे म्हजे कडेन चिल्लर ना they will be having it but they still not give they force the person to buy something especially kids they will say एक आईस्क्रीम घे 15 रुपयाचे आईस्क्रीम आसा something that might not be even selling he just want to get off that stock. More examples of consumer rights violation is one is bait and switch. They sell a product that is different from what was advertised. Hidden charges, they normally don't say. Have you observed when you go for a sale up to 50%? Once you go there, you will see this clothes, only a small segment is for sale. Rest all are fresh collections. So, but what you will do, you will also have a look at that. You know? It's all marketing strategy. Selling used cars as new. Have you seen some people go to purchase a car and there is sometimes they sell the test drive car. They nicely polish it, everything and give it to you. And they sell it, believing it is new. And they sometimes some people like a specific color. Now they don't have it. Now they have to sell it. So they have a test drive vehicle of the similar color. So, ma'am, you will get it within so and so date. And they do that. Claiming features. Claiming that a product has features it does not have. Example is Red Bull. It gives you wings. We had a case where a person purchased a mobile phone saying that it will support 5G. But it never supported 5G. So it was actually promoting something when there was no such feature that was there for which the person has purchased. And the person was given a compensation because yes, that person bought because it would have 5G. Hiding information, withholding information about a product such as damage or defects. Even when these vehicles come, like when you go to book a vehicle, they say, no madam, this color what you're looking for is not available, but we will be getting by end of this month. Okay? And during transit at times, the vehicles sometimes get, a windshield or something breaks. Then they try to repair it and give. But if you look, minutely certain things, you have to look at all the numbers of the glasses of the car. It should tally. See, any new car, it will be in pristine condition. You have to check the make of the car. The number will tell which year, which month. Sometimes you say, I want this month only, and sometimes they give you the same year, some other month. Then unfair trade practices. Limitation period is 2 years from the cause of action. The procedure to file the complaint. Usually when you buy a product, there is some issues. Most of the times people normally serve a notice to the person to rectify or resolve the issue. Does not do, then you draft a consumer complaint. It has to be with an affidavit of the person who is filing it. Then you have to attach all the relevant documents, putting a list of documents saying like this document and so serial number, all that. Then choose appropriate forum based on the pecuniary and territorial jurisdiction. File before the appropriate forum, and then you pay the court fee, and then you appear before the consumer court on the date of hearing. That would be the date of hearing for admission. Now, after hearing your complaint, they will either admit or they will reject it. Okay? If it is admitted, then the opposite party is being issued notice to appear before the forum, and then the whole proceeding starts. I'll just skip this. I'll come to some of the examples. Hershey's. It's written as calcium. It's Hershey's. But if you look at the ingredients of the nutrition facts, calcium is 0. Both things don't, it's contradictory. Next. Now when you go to buy all this fast food items, the picture they show is like it looks so fresh, but when you go to buy, it's not as fresh as that. And you've also seen, there are instances they say that those burgers in which they put the cutlet, it remains fresh for many days. That means that there could be some kind of a preservatives, which could not be good in the long run for your health system. Maggi. We always believe it is 2 minutes noodle. But Maggi does not cook in 2 minutes. This is about the soap. Whenever we use a soap or buy a soap, we have to look at one important component which is mentioned on the packaging cover is TFM, that is total fatty matter. And the soaps are actually categorized under grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Usually when you're buying a soap, it has to be between 75 and 60%. Anything below that, it's not good for human consumption. See, Mysore sandal, all those Synthol, Superior, Silk, Park Avenue, Godrej No. 1, Godrej Fair Glow, it's all come under grade 1. And look at the TFM declared, 80, 79, 76, all that. Grade 2 is 73 to 70 and grade 3 is 68 to 60. As a child, I always used Lifebuoy. Now I came to know that it was of the last, it was like at the borderline. Selling, sir has already discussed that if you sell a bag with the brand name, they could be penalized. These are some of the videos. No, the videos are very interesting.
One minute. This because they have to go, they are having some other activity.
Okay.
Some other occasion will call you definitely. Madam.
If the video is not there, just move on. This is another 2 slides. That's it. This is another thing. When you go to the restaurants, they normally charge, certain restaurants normally charges GST, but they come under the GST composition scheme. That means if their turnover is less than this much, they can't charge you GST because they are allowed only to pay only 5% tax to the government. So since they are benefiting from that scheme, they cannot again charge GST on the bill. I don't think it will be good. This is also another product which is sugar free. But if you look at the ingredients, it has sucralose, which is a form of sugar. Just see if you can play the
Maybe internet is not connected.
Internet is not, that is required. Connected. It's not supporting.
Acha, ठीक है bro. No problem. We will do it. They will call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, students.